I love listening to the world around me. It never gets boring to me. I mean, just people's voices, the way they interact, you know, the sound of people just all on their iPhones in the airport.
Below the line and crafts. So this movie is sort of right up my professional alley, and we're here to talk with some of the people who made this film here tonight. So with me right here is the director, Midge Costin. Next to her is Ben Burtt. Then we have Bobbi Banks. And then we have Bobette Buster, and Carolyn Johnson.
We hate shutting off the credits, but you know, below the line, you should really be more respectful. But it's so short, and we have such superstars here. We wanted to take advantage.
Okay.
I'm going to read the end credits. Here we go.
All right. Well, let's see. Where should we start? Should we just start with Ben?
Yeah,
Yes,
sure.
please.
All right.
Open up the Q&A.
All right. Well, I mean, Ben, this movie is, you know, as I was just telling you, it's like your professional life sort of condensed into 90 minutes. Can you maybe, you know, does seeing a movie like this, does it sort of what sort of emotions does it bring about in you about sort of the changes that you've seen in the sound business over the years?
Well, it's terrific in the sense that it encapsulates a period in time, and that you know, that was part of a bit of a sound revolution really that happened back when I first started. I kind of thought sound was always going to be like this kind of feeling, but I hadn't quite realized that until I saw it, you know, put into this form. You know, you get to toward the end of your career, as I guess I am sort of, but I wouldn't admit that. But you know, in the sense that you see a summary, and you see a time and a place where you started, and the arc of things that happened. That was, you know, it's emotional for me to see it. It's a little self-conscious, you know, when you think kind of like get it off screen quick or something. But what else do you want to know about it? And it's great. I think it's a great record. I think that's really great. You see, I've always loved sound history and spent my career always trying to find out who did what and how it was done and where it came from, the sound. And there's nothing. There's so little. There's barely any clips. There's no interviews. There's not even official names of credits of editors or people that worked in the first, you know, 50 years of sound. And so now there is a record for those that are interested, and it covers so many people that don't know old. It's great. It's great.
Yeah, one of the things we did 90 interviews, and we have 200 hours of footage just because we could hardly find anything, right? And so that was really important to us to just say, okay, let's just capture this while we're here.
That would be great to put online in some fashion, just to have an archive of this sort of thing. Okay. Well, I mean, Bobbi, your experience is in ADR, which now that everybody's seen the film, they understand a little bit about what that is.
Yeah.
How has your job changed over the years? Especially, I mean, we've seen a lot of changes in the technology of making films. You've gone from film to digital. How have things changed for you from, say, the time of League of Their Own to more recent times?
I think on a League of Their Own, we had to have all the actors come in and do lines for the dugout scenes, and that was on film. So nowadays, what would happen is we'd have the same people come in, but they could hear we could play what the other person had recorded. In film, you couldn't. So what we had to do was take everything that each actor said and make conversations. And so that was like something that, I mean, it was great to do. It was very tedious to do. Now it's just different. We can just hear what the other person did and we just cut it out. So it's
Well, Ben, I'd be interested in your thoughts as well on what's the biggest change in how sound is done from when you started? What sort of technological advancement had the the biggest effect on what you do?
I think the overall biggest effect is that you can now have on your laptop the ability to record, cut, and mix a feature film if you had the talent to do it. And that's the crazy part. I mean, that brings it into the realm of the artist, the individual. 'Cause, I mean, I can make a silly home movie, but I can end up with a 7-1 track with subwoofer, something. And it's terrific in that sense. Whereas sound, because of the technical nature of it, especially in the earliest part of the era, it involved large rooms of generators and interlock motors and a batteries and people to maintain it all. It was an industrial, it's like an assembly line for a motor company or something. And you couldn't, in order to do good sound, you had to have that kind of resource, a very industrial studio resource. So I like the fact that it's almost now like an artist in a studio, if you want it that way. Of course, the big films, the way they're done, the timetable and the amount of talent you need in a short amount of time, of course you have to break it out now and make an industrial effort as well. But I love the fact that it's distilled down to the applications that you can relate to as an artist.
Right. Okay, and also I think it's important to have filmmakers who have vision of things to do with the sound, like George did when he called you up to do Star Wars and sent you off to, I think it said you spent a year just going around recording stuff?
Yes.
Did you have a list of any kind, or how?
Yeah, I had a list. I was given a script. That doesn't happen today at all. I was given a script and I broke it down and went through and wrote down all the things in it that I thought would make sound. Put them in categories for weapons, vehicles, ambiences, wind. We didn't have a library of sound at all at Lucasfilm at that time, so you're going to start from scratch and build a library. So I just set out working on categories. I'm going to go to wind this week. I'm going to go do electric motors. Next week I'm going to do jet aircraft, that sort of thing. And just try to work out a schedule to travel to places documentary style and gather sound. Because you also gather ideas where you gather sound.
Right. And so many of the films from that era, you really sort of helped create those characters. I mean, you maybe talk about the process of doing that, and sort of how much was George involved, and how much of that sort of came from you tinkering around with sounds.
Well, I was hired to tinker, and I was in a basement room in the house that George Lucas owned, and I had 4 or 5 tape recorders and some machines I could transfer to magnetic film, so I could splice and cut and test it out with a picture. So I would be tinkering and I'd be off recording things. And periodically George would come downstairs a couple times a week when he was in town, off shooting or something. And I auditioned things for him. We'd sit there at the movie-ola and I'd play, here's laser gun number 1, 2, here's number 3, and then he would give me a reaction of things he liked or didn't like, or he'd definitely have ideas, or how about something with more of a scream in it or something like that. We would, he'd pick something, and then we'd move on to the next thing the next day.
Okay. Well, just as we were walking in here, a young man came up and got an autograph from you. You're probably the most famous sound person in the history of sound.
Partly because of the galaxy far away. That's still going. Yeah.
But do you feel some pressure to sort of be the face of the sound industry to movie fans?
I don't feel that pressure. Most of the pressure I've always felt, I suppose, was a little more directed at myself, in the sense that I wanted so much to come up with something, make a new discovery on each film. I love challenges. I love something new to work on, and it's something that hadn't been done before in a certain way. So those are the things I react to. I don't think of representing an industry. I don't. I was part of it, as the film really does portray accurately. I was part of a group of people working for some directors and producers who encouraged us and elevated us to the position where we could impose a signature on film, an audio signature. And that's something that sound people prior to that time, and even today, that's not offered very often, that kind of opportunity. It takes the creators who are running the movie desire on their part to want to do that and set aside time and money and encouragement, inspiration to do that sort of thing. And it doesn't. Another film that was treated that way was Wall-E. That's how they understand. I started working on months and months before they did any animation. Just when there was a concept that hadn't been proven yet, could a robot that doesn't talk, doesn't speak English, sustain a movie, as a main character? And it was all testing, the sound effects to see if we could do that. And he gave me the time. Pixar gave me the creative freedom to experiment until we worked something out. Right?
Well, you've been through so many changes in the industry. What do you sort of think the future holds for sound? What kind of, what's it going to be like in 10, 15, 20 years from now?
I guess if we keep going the same way we are, we're going to have 75 track Atmos. No, I don't know, more channels. Nothing wrong with that. We're always trying to experiment. Gosh, I can't be the one to predict that. I think the creative challenges of sound are pretty much the same as they've always been since someone tried synchronizing sound effects to a silent movie. It's picking the right sound or the right piece of music or the right orchestration of sound at a given moment in the film to get the effect of the proper illusion to the audience. That won't change, hopefully. I think as an artist, what I would desire is films that ask for those kind of challenges. And those don't come as often now because films are so expensive, so risky for the investors and studios. It's hard for them to be confident of changing up the whole process, to do something completely different. Or something where the sound didn't sound like the last film we just did. It's hard about those trends.
Do we have any sort of quick questions from the audience, if you can shout them out? Right over here.
I would like to know who came up with the idea of the film and what were the steps to get it to the screen?
That's it.
I tried doing this film in 2002, really early on, and there was no such thing as fair use, and fair use is how you get to use the clips without paying for them. As long as you set up the clips now, in 2010 things changed, but so I really wanted to do this because I was a sound editor in Hollywood for years, and I ended up, loving what I was doing, realized how important it was to a movie, and I felt like though people didn't really understand it, and I was so passionate about it that I just really wanted to tell the story. And I love the people I work with. You end up kind of in the trenches with them, and I just really wanted to tell the story. But I put it on hold and didn't do it. Because I knew that we needed to play clips. It didn't make sense not to. I had tried to read books about sound and they never made sense. They didn't affect me very much. So, and then it was Bobette Buster, actually, in 2010. You want to tell your part of it?
Yeah, I had taken a class at USC. I was a graduate student in the Star program, and Karen was my student, actually, years later. And Jay Roach, who's the director of Bombshell and Meet the Parents and Austin Powers, he was my film production teacher. And he gave one lecture only on sound design with Elephant Man, and it was deconstructing 2 reels of the Elephant Man with Alan Splett as the sound designer, with David Lynch as the director. And it blew my ears wide open. I did not understand. Had no idea how much could be told by sound and create the inner life of a character, the Elephant Man's loneliness and isolation, and then eventually his whole rise of his dignity. And so I ended up creating a course on sound and storytelling and taking it to Pixar. Who's in the audience but Gary Rydstrom, who's won 7 Oscars on sound. I was like, holy shit, it's Gary Rydstrom. And I said, well, Mr. Rydstrom, if you don't agree, and he said, no, let's go to lunch, let's talk. So I said, at lunch, I'm like, well, how come you guys haven't done a documentary? It'd make my life so much easier than these 40-hour courses. He said, well, it's really hard to do because sound is an abstract thing, and we're pretty busy, and the clips are too expensive. He said, but I'll back you.
And he said, I'll introduce you to the right people, Spielberg, Lucas, Walter Murch, Ben Burtt. He said, but the first person you must meet is Midge Costin. And we were both at USC, but she was in production and I was in the producing program. And so, you know, I went up to her and I said, hey, you want to do this? And she said, well, she's been working on the idea. And the other thing was that I had gone to Washington with the Entertainment Law Clinic at USC, and the professor, Jack Lerner, was advocating for fair use. And I actually testified on Capitol Hill about that. And with that in mind, we went to Karen Johnson, who had just done a really successful film on female stunt women with a lot of clips. And it had won 5 audience awards. But you had to deal with that, didn't you, with clips clearances? And
we did, but it was nothing like this. So.
There were 1,000 clips in our film for fair use. And so really we were the right team at the right time.
Just a comment, this is a great script because you took something somewhat arcane, very technical, and it drove straight through and illustrated a lot for us. I really appreciated that art.
Yeah, and one of the people that we should recognize is David J. Turner, our editor, who, Karen Bobette and I got together with David. When was that? But anyways, we were, you know, we had shot some things, and then we all got together and just like trying to work it out on all these boards. And then David was just always, he was just great. Anytime anyone mentioned a film, like any film you ever mentioned, he would look at it. And so the way that he pulled clips and everything. So, and then we had a supervising editor because we're in the last 2 years because we made these great scenes that were just beautiful, and then of course we had to shorten them. And Tom Miller came in, and he was just fantastic. So we had a great team. It was a great collaboration. And also, I have to say, like Alison Newman's, music. It's like I think you don't notice it because it's between all these amazing scores. But I just find that it really brings out the emotion. It just, it's not too overly. Anyway, she was great. It was just a great team.
We ended up having like 500 hours of material and transcripts. We could have done a whole hour and a half on Ben alone and Walter Murch and Gary, and we wanted to do a series. So we were lucky to get it down to just this one documentary and get it out.
Okay. Real quick, we're running out of time, so this gentleman over here, shout it out, please.
It's a wonderful journey, and taking us all the way back to where we are. There's one period, though, that I feel is missing. There was the advent of cinemascope, 20th Century Fox, pushing the road, forced theaters to install 4-track magnetic sound reproduction. It was a real breakthrough at the time, and it's not even mentioned.
Let's let her answer.
Yeah, we had to make some decisions about how much to get into. We were afraid that it was technical and trying to do it for a general audience, but I hear what you're saying, and yeah, it was a hard decision to make, but we decided to kind of go with more generally what was going on instead of, but yeah, so that was a decision, maybe, but yeah. So I think we tried to make it not so technical.
We had to kill many darlings.
We have one more question. Who's got one? Over here?
Yeah, working so close to sound and knowing how sound affects emotions, and does that affect how you listen throughout the rest of your life? How you listen to other people, the world around you, things like that?
I mean, for me, it's one of the reasons I wanted to do the film, and it's also one of the reasons I wanted to teach. I feel like I'm so lucky because I feel like I get to teach people to listen, generally, and to appreciate their sense of hearing and sound, and so that's great. And I get to do it through film, which is what could be more fun. So yeah, how do you feel about that? Yeah.
I love listening to the world around me. It never gets boring to me. I mean, just people's voices, the way they interact, the sound of people just all on their iPhones in the airport. They're not talking anymore. No, it's just soundscapes around us are fascinating. You get ideas from it. You see patterns. It's fabulous.
Real quick, one more. guy up here. You, yeah.
One of the bits I found the most fascinating was the moment where you talked about your breakdown of being an incredibly important sound designer and then finding your love of sound design after that. I'd love to hear a bit more about that journey.
Well, let's do the last question. I didn't quite understand the question. I had a breakdown, and then I became a sound designer. When I was a young kid.
No. There was a moment in the movie where you talked about...
I talked about getting mentally exhausted at the end of the break. Yeah, it was emotional. Well, it was, a few years into my career, and I had these series of home runs, you might say, each year a film, each year an Oscar, each year a film Oscar. And it seemed like that's the way it's going to be, isn't it? But then reality sets in. You do work that you think is great, and nobody cares. They don't like it, or the film doesn't do well, or suddenly there's more consciousness about the budget, and you ask for something, they say no. Just confronting reality, and I found that I was so emotional about the work that I was doing. I got so wrapped up in it every day. It meant so much to me that it exhausted me. It was exhausted I couldn't. Well, I don't want to go into all the details, but I got very upset and very kind of depressed about the whole thing, and disillusioned, and had to take a step away and take some time and come back slowly and try to put it in a perspective, which was it's some lesson we all keep learning over and over again, really, which is to find a way you can enjoy the journey of what you're doing, and not let the goal be you deferring everything because there's this goal out there. If you think, well, I'm going to do this film, I'm going to suffer, I'm going to spend all this time, but there's an Oscar waiting for me at the end, or I'm going to be written up in a magazine again called A Genius or something like that. Well, that's completely unrealistic. You have to say, on a given Tuesday afternoon, you're just doing something with Foley, or you're cutting something, if that's enjoyable, then kind of do your own thing. And trying to remind yourself of that. I think that applies to anybody who's in a career where, we all have careers, I'm sure, where there's pressure to perform, fear of failure. You just can't hold out the wrong goal in front of you. You have to pace yourself to enjoy it for what it is. On a daily basis, the routine. I'll edit a film, and I really love the editing, and I'm really disappointed when it's over. I have kind of a postpartum depression. It's like, I can't go in today and change it again? Because you enjoyed your exploration. It was so much fun. I feel that way about post-production all the time.
Did you get into picture editing at that time? Did you step away from sound at the time, and is that when you
well, I always had a little hand in the editing room. I was hanging around watching people, learning from Paul Hirsch or Marsha or somebody. And I started cutting on the Edit Droid, which was an experimental tool, and they needed somebody who wasn't too critical, and most of the real editors didn't have the patience or the time to put up with all of its quirks. But I started cutting my own movies and making silly mashup videos from TV shows and playing with it, and it kind of honed my editing skills that way. Then I ended up cutting some IMAX films and some Disney kind of special things at Epcot, and I love picture editing because it encompasses the sound editing the way I would want to do it, because they're really the same thing. Timeline, you're putting in imagery and sound for a purpose, to create a feeling in the story. And so if you work the two together, it doesn't have that one, but it's the best world for me.
And how many Oscars do you have, Dad?
Oh, I'm not going to be honest. I have 4.